Sharma, founder, director of Design House, graduated from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. After an extensive professional experience, he founded the design firm Gravity, which laid the foundation for Design House as we know today. Has more than 16 years of diversified experience in the field of architecture and infrastructure development, environmental design, and product design. Architect Rajiv Kumar Sharma strongly believes in the power of perseverance and persistence, and with his strong belief, has been the central force behind the growth of Design House from a two-member team in 2006 to a congregation of around 100 proficient architects, engineers, and project managers delivering high-quality architectural and engineering services across the country today. Architect Rajiv is recipient to many awards. Name a few. Is the top regional architect award in 2019 and 2018 by CWAB Awards, and he has done noteworthy institutional building category in 2016 and 2017 for Vauxhall School of Business and Vauxhall School of Arts and Design. He is working relentlessly with a vision to be a force to reckon with at a global level by 2020. We request our architect Rajiv Kumar Sharma to address the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me have my presentation put on the screen. I hope I am audible to everyone.
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Yeah. So for this session, since this session comprises of like mostly to the students and then the faculty and then mostly the students of the your college. So I wanted to share my experience as a creative struggle. You can say that what I faced and how my life began, and then since the childhood, how was it? So facing the challenges and then what are the difficulty I faced during my career. So this might be helpful for the students to take their journey forward in terms of doing architecture practices or doing a job of architects or anything of that sort. So in general, this would be helpful for their motivation level to get higher. So let me start with my journey as how I started basically. So I born in 1977. So schooling I did from basically I born in Bihar, Munger, and it's a small city where I grown up, and I was not like a born you can say genius, but I was a hardworking person. So always I try to read a lot and then do whatever things sincerely. That was the basic thing which was there in me. So even in the schools and all, I used to go for the competition and then won many awards actually, just because of my hard work. It was nothing to do with like being a genius or something like that, or privilege. I was not privileged to have that kind of thing with my background actually. So being a small family, like a poor family, I was born in a poor family. My father was a railway workman, and we have a large family of 6 members in our family. So the hardship I have faced during my childhood was good enough to guide me that I need to get my life settled in somehow. So schooling I did from Saraswati Vidya Mandir in Munger only, and then I got into a class 6 as like a district school, Jilai School, High School Munger. So first time I encountered a partiality in terms of the struggle, you can say that in my school. So in the school there was a lot of partiality in terms of the casteism, or you can say that if any flourished guys are there, so they get the preference. So there was a scholarship exam which was happening in my school, and it was in the sixth standard. So, and the school, basically they wanted to send three guys, because the limitation of three guys were there to send for the scholarship exam. And I was in top three in that school. I always used to get the top rank, first or second, not the third also. So opportunity wise, I should have got that chance, but I didn't get that chance to appear into that exam. So uh, one of our neighbor were there in my community. He was a school principal in some other school. So he asked me, Rajiv, are you going for this scholarship? I told him that no, I was not selected, so I'm not going to that scholarship exam. So he said that why don't you join our school and then you appear for this exam, which was the scholarship exam. So he gave me a chance to appear into the examination, and I topped that exam actually for the scholarship, which was there for the state, whole state, and 18 students were there in that selection-wise scholarship exam. So basically, the point I want to make is like the opportunity will come to you. It's basically, it's not always that you have to look for the opportunity, and when it comes, then you have to take it like in a proper way. Then after that, I topped in the board exam also in Bihar, and then afterwards I appeared for selection of these exams like engineering exams and all. So I got selected in IIT, then Roorkee, and then DC. But people suggested me that no, enter into the IIT only. Don't look for any other colleges. So unfortunately, I got the department as architecture only. I was never intended to go into the architecture. I was never uh, tried for that actually, going into the architecture. I always wanted to be an engineer or basically engineering background, mostly mechanical or electrical or somehow. So then I was destined to be an architect, getting the degree. So I entered into the IIT, and then got into the department, architectural departments. Then what happened that in IIT, there is a facility that you can change your department. If you get the CGPA as like 8.25, you can change whatever you want to go into the department wise. I tried that one also, and unfortunately, I got 8.23 CGPA, and just for 0.02, I missed that opportunity to change my department. So you can say that it is unfortunate, or I was lucky enough to not to change my department. And then I thought that no, I have to be in the department only. So second year or first year, I fought very hard to change my department. Then I lost the interest in many things actually. In studies also, I lost the interest. And then in the department also, I lost the interest. So second year was like just like that. I passed my time. Then realized that no, I should not waste my time to just like that. If I have to do something, then let's focus on my studies and everything. So then I started reading a lot as in like books, then consultation with the seniors, and then getting the hands-on experience with all the people. Like seniors were very helpful in guiding me, and then going to the library was one of the place where I used to go and then read, sit most of the time during the night time or the daytime. I used to. So I started working hard towards getting my degree cleared. Then I passed out in 2002, when the economic recession was there. I got a job of 5,000 rupee per month in Mumbai. That was basically the toughest time I have got. Surviving with 5,000 rupee in Mumbai is not so simple. So that was a real tough time for me to survive. So then I thought that no, it is not sufficient for me to survive with that 5,000. So I thought of going for some part-time job or something like that. So I started teaching mathematics to CAT aspirants in IMS, and daily I used to travel almost 5 hours in the local train, up and down 2.5 hours, and then changing of 3 trains, and then reaching the destination. So it was basically the one of the toughest time I have in my phase of like career, and basically it was the toughest in terms of getting the realization, coming into the realization actually. See, coming out of the IIT, mostly the expectation from the guardian or the parents are very high. They think that coming out of the IIT, you will get that uh, a job, handsome salary job, and then your life is settled. So they have their own expectation, and then comparison starts with your colleagues actually, that who are your colleagues and they are getting a handsome salary of 6 lakh per annum, and then you are getting just like 5,000 rupees per month. So those kind of like depressing moments started actually during that time. So uh, somehow I made up my mind. I started reading some of the books like Atlas Shrugged, and then motivation wise, reading both technical magazines and then design magazines. So this was the changing moment for me to read the book. Atlas Shrugged, I read it. And during that time, I realized that no, I have to be very strong in terms of facing the challenges. Let it be whatever means of way it comes. I have to do something. So I started reading a lot. Read everything I used to read, like technology magazine or the economic magazines or whatever papers and all. I used to read a lot, and then whatever the through the reading, I got a lot of things actually, good things in terms of how basically strong you can be with your knowledge actually. It is, you cannot be strong until unless you have the knowledge, until unless you have the substance to argue with the people, to counter your thoughts. You need to have a well-read person. See, if the information is lacking, you will never win any kind of argument. So for that, you need to have a lot of information in terms of the technology, in terms of the design, or anything of that sort. So I read a lot, and then as you know that it is architecture is a very resilient measure. It is not just about the art or design. It is about learning skills as in like a lot of skills are involved into the architecture. For example, if you like chemistry, you can have that reading the textbook, and then you can uh, research for that how the material behaves, how it is recycled, or how you can make something out of that material. Then if you are a sociology lover, then you can research on the human behavior that is also related to the architecture only. Like physics, if you know the physics or maybe the electrical things, how you can make use of things in your architecture, that is up to you. So be brave, read a lot, whatever subjects that appeals to you. So that is what I used to read a lot. And then this is the suggestion I would give to all the students, that you also need to read a lot. Okay, don't waste the time as in like not reading much. It is not always that everything is available on the computer. So sometimes some of the things if it is legible on paper or maybe some magazines and all, you have to go to the library, sit down, and then do your working there. So that's the best way to gain that knowledge. Then my career, basically, it was not defined with my degree. So I was doing my regular job in that 5,000 rupee, and then I thought of like this will not suffice my. I'll not justify myself in terms of being an architect or being a human. So I started looking for some opportunity. So uh, after almost 3 years of my practice there in Mumbai, I got an opportunity in Bangalore, which was not related to the architecture actually. It was a totally different kind of uh, a work opportunity, which was I had to design a table basically for Intel, and the requirement was there for the table has to be adjustable as in they work on the software and hardware put together. So they need a working platform which is 4 feet is available size, and then at the same time you have to work on the software and then the hardware as well. Okay. So this was a totally new concept they wanted to work, and I was not sure that I'll be able to do this because of my background. Because I was an architect, and then this was a total product design job, and it was related to the mechanical thing, and then electronics also was there into this table. But somehow I took the challenge, and then I said that I'm interested in doing this. So they called me to the Bangalore office, and it was Intel, directly to the Intel. So I started doing my research there, and then in 6 months, the task was to complete the job in 6 months. The prototyping needs to be done in 6 months. So I started working, and within 3 months, I got this table done, and then prototyping was also done within 3.5 months. And the patent was registered. Uh, Patent is still there with me and then Intel put together for that table. So it was basically that when you press the switch, the upper deck goes up and then the lower deck comes up. And when you press the other switch, the lower deck goes little further down, and then the upper deck comes down. So I started the career with that professional job, and I was paid almost like a lakh of rupee, which was almost, you can say, that 20 months salary, which was there for previous from the previous employer. So I got that uh, uh, 1 lakh rupee, and then after that, the client was so impressed that they asked us, me actually, to develop other products as well. Other products, as in they had that modular furniture. Um, so they wanted to align the modular furniture, all the modular furniture for them, like beds, sofa, then wardrobe, then other whatever the carpentry, you can say that. So I aligned everything. So after this, I got that opportunity to align there. Then they asked me, can you put up your office here, and we'll give you the regular kind of work. And before that, I was not having any intention to shift from Mumbai to Bangalore, because you might be knowing that the Mumbai people hardly loves to travel anywhere else for their livelihood. But I had to. I was very strong, so I shifted from Mumbai to Bangalore, and I opened an office there in Bangalore. Then I started working for them, and parallelly uh, they gave us some opportunity in terms of doing some interior work and then doing some graphic related work as well. So from there onwards, I got a lot of opportunity in terms of designing, but actual design of the architecture I didn't get in another after starting the work 1.5 year. Till 1.5 year, I was not having any pure architectural work. After 1.5 year, I got the actual assignment of doing an interior design of an office in Hyderabad, which was a builder's office. So I designed that, and then the builder got impressed with the design, interior designs, and all. So he offered me to do architecture job, architecture basically design of one of the project, which is Western Plaza here in Hyderabad, and it is 14 lakh SFT and 468 apartment project. So that I did, and after that my career started, and then we got a lot of work actually in terms of the revenue, and then I expanded myself to Hyderabad. Next year onwards only 2007 I put up the office here in Hyderabad. Then a lot of work came afterwards. So some of the work I wanted you to get into, like this was one of the campus which we did, like 200 acre of campus of Watson University. It is there in Sangareddy, and we have received a lot of recognition for this project. It was like institutional category. We received that NDTV Design Award. Then another project which is still we are doing that, which is 100 acre of campus, which is KL University. This also has like a lot of things we are doing in this campus. So I'm giving a glimpse of what we received and the volume of project what we are doing. Then this was one of the interesting project which I did was like Hare Krishna Temple, and this is properly known as ISKCON Temple. It's there in Banjara Hills. Already a part of the construction has been completed for Golden Temple, Lakshmi Narasimha Swami Temple, and the main temple is yet to come. So then another interesting project which gave me the kick was like Watson Architecture Block, was designed in the same concrete finishes. Then one of the project in Jaipur which I'm doing right now is like Taj Hotel. Then this is also one of the interesting project which we have completed is in Bangalore. It's another sky where you see that like in the same plan, only the balconies portion has been twisted, and we have received a lot of recognition for this project as well. Then another residential project, but still it gives like a difference like in terms of creativity. Even though the plans are as per Vastu, but still we have that opportunity to explore the difference in terms of the creativity with this elevation and then facade treatment. Then one of the interesting project which I'm currently doing is like Twin Towers in Hyderabad, which is just beside Hussain Sagar Lake, and it is 30-storied residential luxury residential apartment project. This would change the face of the Hyderabad city. And always I believed in being a perfectionist. So I always looked into the perfection of everything, whatever I did. Till date, I go into the nitty gritty of everything and then design accordingly. It is not like just even if I would have ignored some of the things, client would not have mind it that I have ignored something. But from my side, I have never ignored any small detailing. So this is why it is needed basically for any professional is like if you are perfect, then only people will recognize you as a like perfectionist, and maybe the awards also will come through that only. Until unless you see the passion in the design, you will never come up with some good design. So the passion needs to be there always with you. Then always like a creative approach needs to be there for you, for all the people basically. It is up to date with the new innovation and the creativity in terms of the field, you cannot repeat the same kind of thing all the time. You have to change your design principle or maybe the designs, which will go through the phases. Okay, the era will come where the new technology, only the new gadgets and new technology will be there for people to run through. So always you have to be aware with the technology and what are the changing. That always uh, the construction technologies is changing, the design philosophy is changing. So all the things needs to be get into your mind, and it is not just about uh, a product basically, like a building. It is about a lot of things. It involves like product, graphics, and technology. So we have to be aware with all these things in being a perfectionist. Then basically, some of the people I see that it is like they go into a home and then they see that the work can be done from the home as well. I strongly believe that the work has to be done either in studio, workplace, or any other place where you get the vibrance to do the work. Okay. I'll tell you my example that how I was very disciplined in terms of going to the office and then doing the work. As during my start of the career, although I was having no visitor to my office for almost 6 months, but I go to the office. I used to go to the office at 9 o'clock in the morning with proper dressing, sit in front of the computer with proper dressing. Everything was neat and clean. And then I was the only guy who was there in my office when I started. So it was basically running the things yourself and then with the discipline. So until unless you are disciplined, you are not going to succeed anywhere. Discipline is very necessary to work in terms of the drawing, in terms of the delivery. You have to have the discipline. So until unless you follow, you will not be able to get things properly. So and then working with the team is also important. As in like the culture needs to be defined. See, the studio work. What I see is like always come to the studio, you will always find people of the same basically thinking or similar kind of situation. You will always find your colleague to be in the similar kind of situation. So brainstorming, with the brainstorming, you can really solve any kind of problem or any kind of design issues, or you will be able to learn many things since you are all of you are going into the same kind of problem, but the design approach of all the people are different. So always you get to know that, oh, I was thinking this way. There are other ways also to look into the design aspect. So my suggestion would be always work in a group as in like get the opinions from other people as well. Whatever, if suppose anything you are doing, let the critics comes, let your colleagues come, and then look into your design and then suggest whatever they wanted to suggest. Then one of the lesson which is important for everybody is like, don't compare yourself to anyone but you. This was one of the biggest lesson I feel that I learned from my life. Uh, my colleagues were getting handsome salary and I was depressed that I'm not getting the salary as much my colleagues are getting. So it basically comparing yourself will with anybody will lead you to get more depressed. Yeah. You will never come up with that kind of depression until unless you stop comparing. So my sincere suggestion would be that don't compare yourself with anybody. Everybody has their own opinion or priorities or things. You work towards what you wanted to achieve and then do your work properly. And then again, copying someone or devaluing your work won't let you anywhere go to achieve the higher goals. Then standard, you have to set your standards for yourself, and until unless you reach to that level, don't stop. Then one of the basically the tip could be flexible. If you are feeling unmotivated because you have got tons of job, then you just need to realize that it's just how it goes sometimes. Be flexible in your thinking. At the start of the new week, keep in mind that there could be long nights in store. Approach that week with a positive attitude and realize that once your work is done, you will be able to take a nice break. Basically, a teacher once told me that rephrasing your statement can change your outlook on a project. Rather than saying, oh, I have to complete 5 drawings this week, instead say, yeah, I get to complete 5 drawings this week. So only the rephrasing of your sentence or your thought will make you feel good actually. So it is always about feeling good. If you are feeling good, then your attitude towards the work also will be good. And you will be able to put 100%, more than 100% towards your plan. Then think of scale. Always, this is one of the most important thing which I have learned, and I always believe that all the students should learn about this. Uh, Scale is one of the important thing for any kind of design. If suppose you are doing a house design, okay, so you have to feel that what should be the width of the door, what should be the height of the door, or what should be the step size. So until unless you have that idea of the scale, you will never be able to design a place properly. So I would say that after completing that 5 year of course, many of you people will not be able to say exactly that how much is that 5 feet or how much is that 4 feet and what is the 1 feet size or maybe the 300 how much is it. So until unless you draw with your hand, basically the sketching, if you don't sketch or draw on your paper, you will not be able to understand that what is this. So I would recommend that all the people should go for the sketching. You don't have to be an artist to become architect. Mostly people have the perception that architecture is about art. I strongly believe that it is not about architecture. Architecture is about more with the technology. It has less of art. Art, I would say that art is just like 10-20% only. It is 80 to 90% is just the technology and then science. So realize that fact. So you don't have to be an artist. Artist is basically they make the sketches and all. I was not good at sketching, okay, and still I'm not good at sketching. So that doesn't mean that I have not become architect. So just leave that perception out of your mind that your sketching has to be good. So why I'm saying that sketching or making the drawings are important with the hands is like until unless you draw with a pencil or pen or with the colors and all, you will not be able to understand the scale or depth. You have to understand the scale. Then until unless you understand the scale, you will not be able to design properly of a large scale project. If the scales are clear, then only you can say that how things will come up. Suppose you are doing a 100-acre campus, and then you start going into the detail from the start only, and like my how much will be my room size, how much will be my door size, what size of the building will be. You will be lost in 100-acre designing. It cannot be like that. If you are doing something in 100 acres, then first of all you have to visualize that this 100 acres is a huge site. Okay, you have to do the macro planning first, like placement of the blocks, or a roughly placement of the blocks of all the buildings, what are the types of the buildings are there. You categorize that, and then you do the bubble diagram, and then do uh, the placement of the blocks and all. Then you go into the micro detailing of the buildings. Most of the time what happens, whenever you get the project, we start designing from the building, which is not true for all sorts of design. Actually, the design comes later. First of all, that the master planning is important. So master plan needs to be thought well, how the entry will be there, how the exit will be there for any kind of project, where will the parking will be given, how vehicular entry will be there, how the pedestrian entry will be there, how the disabled people will enter. So all sort of how the fire engine will move. So all these things needs to be first planned properly. This is macro level, I am saying that. Then comes the micro level of planning. When you enter into the building, how your steps will be there, where your reception will be there, how many floors will be there. So my point is, like, always you have to work in terms of going into the micro to macro, macro to micro, vice versa. You have to work out, for which you need to understand the skill. Then I would say that uh, many people these days, the technologies are moving in such a way that we are paralyzed with the use of phone or laptop. This is a bad thing happening to our society. I would strongly say that stop going to the Facebook or Twitter or whatever the social media things. Keep aside that. Keep some time for that kind of website. Look for something which is more productive, which will give you some kind of references to refer for your future. Like, references can be from Arch Daily or Pin or Design Boom or any other creative sites, but certainly keep away from Facebook or Twitter. Or just don't kill your time in doing all these kind of stuffs. It is my sincere suggestion to all the students, whoever are listening. So this will not lead you to anywhere. Sitting or watching Facebook or putting the comment will not give you any kind of innovative thought. It is not a place for innovation, those kind of places. Rather, you do a search in Arch Daily, then look for something which is daily. You get some lot of buildings on those kind of websites. And my point is that don't waste time in browsing all these kind of things. Or it is not about the likes or basically dislikes. Many people will uh, have the argument that no, it also gives like what is happening in the world. Let's give some little time to that, what is happening to the world, to know that what your friends are doing, what they have uploaded and all. Half an hour will be quite enough time to get uh, what your friends or what the Facebook is doing. Still, I would say that after this much of basically my career, hardly I invest more than 5 minutes of my time on these websites. You will not see my page as very active page on Facebook. I hardly post anything. Although I get a lot of time to do these kind of things, but hardly I do, because I see that it is a waste of time for me. for you also, you will be able to realize after some time that it's a waste of time. So just look for something which is more productive. Then one of my suggestion would be, or from my basically professional experience, what I have learned is going to the field is more important than sitting in the office. Uh, See, you can do a lot of good funky design on paper, and then once it comes to the reality, you will hardly be able to make that executed site-wise. In my career, I have not designed any building which has a curve till date. I have almost completed 18 years of my career, and I have not uh, completed any of my work which has got any curve. And when your academics are there, you give this curvature and then that curvature, and then you show that, oh wow, that's curve is very nice. But see, whatever lines you are drawing, it has a significance. So before drawing the line, you need to understand that how that will be executed. It is not just about making the drawings, how it will be executed, how the plumbing lines will go, how the electrical will come on this, what will be the difficulty in laying the bricks, what would be the challenges faced by the labor to execute the work. So these are the things you need to look into. So until unless you go to the field where the work is happening, you will not be able to realize that what kind of drawings I have made, and then how it is will be executed. Then uh, you need to learn about the technology as well in terms of the structure, how they put the slab, and then how it is getting casted. It is about the project management also. You need to learn those things if you really want to become architect. The phases of the work, how the phasing will be done, how things will be casted, at which stage you need the electrical drawing, at which stage you need the plumbing drawing. So these are the things. Until unless you go to the site, you will not be able to learn things. I started my career where I was sent to the site only. That was basically a good thing which happened to me, was going to the site and getting the work executed. Whatever I was learned in my college days, everything I was trying to relate that how that will happen on this site, or the site will have several challenges, like plumbing challenges, and then shuttering challenges. So you need to learn about that. I would sincerely say that half of the time you should invest on going to the site. Only half you put on the paper or in the office or doing the designs. But at the start of your career, you have to opt to go to the site. Ask your employer to send you to the site, whoever will. There only you will be able to learn about the design and architecture. The architecture is not doing the things on the just on the paper or making the drawing in the 3D. Then this is one of the thing which basically listen to your client. I would say that you have to listen, speak less, listen more. This is what I have learned. Then listen as in like you have to listen to the client first. You are not doing the design for your personal thing. For the client only, you are working as a like advisor. Okay. So until unless you listen properly and then understand their requirement, you will not be able to design anything. So everybody, all the clients are not same. So psychology wise, you have to understand that what is the psychology running in their mind. So all the people will have different kind of sets of requirement, different basically genre of design they would be looking for. So the client will like that traditional kind of design. Some people might like the modern kind of design. Some might be liking for a contemporary kind of design. So l- until unless you listen them properly, you will not be able to understand about their liking. And after understanding that, then only you can design. You cannot force any kind of design to any client. And as I said, that you cannot say that it is my building, it is the client's building actually. So for whom you are designing, you are not owning the building, and the client is putting their money, so they have all the rights to question you about uh, their liking. So you cannot force client that no, this will look good, this only will look good. Certainly client will have their own opinion that uh, with a proper reasoning only you can argue about, no sir, this way it will look good, or this way it will look bad. So with the proper argument should come until unless you have the understanding of their thought. Then I would say that uh, you have to think a lot. If you have to make a career, you have to develop your own style of working. See, everybody has their own style. Copying and all is like is maybe you can refer something and then piecemealing some attractive parts. You can do that, but ultimately uh, you cannot cut something from some area and then put mm, the same thing in most unrelevant way. You have to understand the context, and then only you can copy and then paste something, some piecemealing. You can do that. It is not about just uh, putting the Taj Mahal in the high-tech city. So context needs to be understood first, that what is the requirement, what kind of requirement it is. Then only you can do the brainstorming for getting into the design. Until unless you have the specific requirement will lead you to what kind of design you can have. Then start referring to that. Maybe some kind of references you can go into the. I would say that you do a rough design. Once you get the problem, don't just start looking for the references or just trying to copy something. Okay, it is about you design something by your own, and then try to see that how you can improvise that design by looking at the references and all. Just copying will not help. You will not be able to solve any problem with the copying. You have to design something properly, put on the paper, and then start looking for some reference, then come back again, then refine that, and then go back to again the references, then try to develop your own everything. Then I would say that you have to be bold, and basically until unless you are bold, you will see if it is like a general kind of thing which you wanted to do, just like similar kind of design or same kind of thing to everywhere, nobody will come to you with a professional work until unless you get the design all the time. You have some enthusiasm left to do something new with all your projects. Okay, if you be a monotonous, then you are not an architect. If you think that by repeating the same kind of design you can be a great architect, it is not like that. Always you have to revive yourself with new kind of designs, new kind of setup, and then new kind of work. Then only you can be a great architect. So the boldness has to be there. You put the design, bold designs, and then justify yourself with that design. Justify as in like technology wise, you have to justify, and then whatever the innovation is needed to justify your drawings or your designs, you have to do that. Then I would say that you have to deal with the criticism. Sometimes people will come and then say that bullshit, whatever you done this, I never wanted this kind of design, or you have not understood the problem. You don't have to be depressed with that. Okay, it is your ego should go first of all, and until unless you are basically accepting the criticism in a proper way, you will never be able to succeed. Most of the people get failed just because of this. They their ego is higher. They think that the my building I have designed, I have put in a lot of efforts, and the client has just said like that, what the bullshit you have done. So this is the negative feeling you have to remove from you. Let the ego go off. Critics always, you will find that critics will come and then they will question your creativity. So take the criticism in the right way and then evaluate yourself. If the criticism is surely in a wrong way, then what you can do is like just argue with your proper reasoning that no, I have my own thought, and this way it is right. You have to win the argument basically with your uh, thought. Thought has to be proper, and then argument has to be proper. Illogical argument will not win you anywhere, and then it will not let you go anywhere. So whatever way you can remove the criticism from your mind, that no, I always believed in that, even though criticism can come from any kind of people, any sort of people. It is basically the suppose the project is not relevant to a poor guy also. Okay, what his opinion will be on your design. Okay, even though he is not going to buy that flat or going to buy that area, but still I would say that their opinion matters. Why it matters? Because he's a layman kind of person, and he might be having his own requirement for getting the design done. So you have to understand the requirement from everybody properly. So criticism can come to anywhere. Okay, whether it is about the color, whether it is about the placement, whether it is about the scale or anything. So let the criticism comes to you. Even I would say that many great architects have their own criticism, like brutalism. If you see that there are a lot of brutal buildings in and around the world, so that doesn't mean that the architects have stopped making that kind of brutal building. Maybe some of the people will always criticize. They will never understand the context, in what context it was designed and what was the reason behind doing the design. So I would say that during the design phase, if any kind of criticism comes, take that in a proper way, in a positive way, and then design. Then one of the basically strong pillar which is with me is like ethics. I have always follows my ethics, business ethics, moral and social values. This is one of the most important thing for any humankind. It's like you should not harm anybody, or maybe you should not. Basically, in my career, I have received many things, many accolades, many kind of awards and all. which kicks me for doing better, always a better job. Okay, but there are some certain kind of people that is not their requirement. Their requirement is just to make the money. So if you go into that kind of trap, you will not be able to do justice to your profession. uh, you have been appointed by the client that would be their best advisor. At the same time, getting appointed as an advisor, you cannot advise somebody or some people who are not useful for that client, or maybe in terms of the pricing, or in terms of uh, doing the design for the sake of the vendors, or doing the design where architects are getting their cuts, or maybe you can say that uh, some portion of the fee is being covered through uh, their commission kind of thing. You should not be doing those kind of things. If that kind of credibility you are making, then only you will be a successful person. One of the example I would say that during my career in Bombay, the client's fee was defined with a percentage. So percentage as in like how much percentage, 1 or 2% was the fee for the designing some interior or something was there. So the architect, he what he did was like just to increase his fee, he had to increase the total cost of the project. Simple thing what he did was like he took the teak wood for the framing and everything, and then over that he did the polishing of the teak wood, and then he did the Duco paint over that teak wood. So there is a contradict basically of if Duco paint was the requirement, then why did you take that teak wood and then you polished it? So just to increase the cost of the project, that architect did this thing because his fee was attached to the percentage. I would say that don't do this kind of things. This will not lead you to anywhere. You will not feel good after doing this kind of job. So ethics is very important for the business or any kind of profession. I would say that you have to stick to the social values, moral. Then I would say that you have to think about the earth also, that the waste is, and then what kind of energy, and then what kind of uh, wastage is, or saving of the energy, how well you can incorporate that into your design. My example I would give you that still uh, reaching to this stage also, uh, I had realized that anyway I was not architect when I was studying in IIT, but during that time it was there in my mind that wasting the energy is of no use actually. So uh, ironing the shirt, I used to iron my shirt. So I I have my own way of taking things. So I thought that since half of the portion of the shirt is anyway going under the pant, so why do I need to iron that part? So I thought that that may be a good thought of saving the energy as well, and then saving the time as well. So I practice those kind of things into uh, my way of life. So my point is that you need to think your way, that how you want to save the earth. Okay, so practice whatever you can do, and it is about your practicing as well. You cannot be something which you are not practicing. So it has to come from your side only. then I would say that perseverance, which made me to reach to this level. Keep fighting for what you want. Never give up. Nothing can beat the hard and sincere work. Don't quit. Do it. This is my way of looking things. Then have few suggestions which I would say that it will might be useful for you to take it forward for your life. Learn as much as possible. Gain the knowledge as much as you can. Be perfectionist. Never give up. And then try to be innovative always. Innovation is the key. So for me to reach to this level, I have followed these things, and I would say that this would surely lead you to be a successful person. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir, for motivating our students with all your experiences.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Sir, we have a few questions from the participants, students.
Yeah.
So can we go ahead, sir? I'll be asking on their behalf.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So the first question, sir, share your thought on influence of new technologies on creativity. Something we compromise while integrating our designs as per usage of technical equipment.
Uh, Technical equipment, as in you lack the technical equipment or you lack the technology. See, there are two ways to look into that. Maybe if you are browsing something on website and some of the things which is there in the journals, or that kind of technology has not come to India or to you, then that's a separate thing. But that will not stop you to think in a creative way. Maybe sometimes later, or maybe after 6 months or a year, that technology will come, and then you can incorporate those technology to your designs. So it will never stop you, or maybe you innovate your technology for getting your designs done or executed. So you have to be aware with the technology. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, a small request from our side.
Yeah.
If you can stop presenting, sir, we can have your.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, sir.
Yeah,
We should continue with the next question, sir.
yeah, please.
Presentation is a key in an architect's life. How can one go about it in terms of expressing more effectively, not missing any point, as one tends to panic or struggle to put forward all the points in the moment?
This is a very good thing. A key to success for anybody, any design to be designer to get their presentation in a proper way. So getting the presentation at once, you will not get your presentation in right. Okay. So what you have to do, you have to sort things, like these are the things which you need to put in the presentation. You just scribble it, that these are the things, these are the views I want to put it, these are the uh, points I have to make in the presentation. uh, until unless you write down those points, you are tend to miss some of the things. So the best way is to do the presentation is you sort out things first on your Scrabble paper. You put it on the paper roughly also, that these are the things which I have to do for the presentation. These are the points which I have to speak for the presentation. You have to scribble those things, and then dedicate your time according to that. That this sheet I have to make in this much time, this sheet I have to make this much time. And there are processes to do that. Actually, presentation is just one part. See, the basically once you get the problem for your academics, you start looking for the presentation. Okay, presentation is not the first thing. Okay, first you have to complete the designs, then presentation is 2-3 days job only. Okay, so to complete your assignment, you have to complete everything in proper way. You set your timeline that you have to complete all the designs by this much of time. Then you dedicate 2 or 3 days or whatever you are comfortable. You dedicate that time for the presentation and put it on the paper that this is what I can do in this much of time. Don't overload yourself for the presentation. Okay, if I am the evaluator, I will not look for the presentation. Okay, that how much color you have put in or how well you have done your design. Even if you do with the pencil or if you do with the sketches and all, I would be happier to evaluate your presentation. Okay, so it is not about your presentation should look good. That as a perspective from the client side, it will look good. Okay, see, the presentation is not important for you to become architect. Okay, that is one of the aspect for becoming an architect. In my office, I do only the design. I don't do the presentation. Okay, presentation is done by the somebody else. Okay, so you will always find people who can do the presentation for you. Okay, but you will miss the thing which you have to make basically for the presentation. The content is important rather than the presentation. Focus on the content. Okay, if your content is stronger, presentation whatever way you are presenting, your evaluator will judge it properly. And if you are able to speak up those things properly, your evaluator will surely evaluate in a proper way. So don't stress yourself just for the presentation. Okay, presentation is one of the key aspects. You have to look into the presentation. Okay.
Thank you, sir. One more question. Sometimes the client has a closed head about ideas they have seen and want to imitate them. Such a scenario, how do we come up with an innovative solution of our own while convincing them?
Yeah, that's a very good point actually. Basically, most of the client will have their own idea. They will come up with some printout or something that I want this kind of building. Okay, so while designing, only you have to educate the client. It is about educating the client that the context, sir, this kind of building cannot fit into this area, or why this building has come up in this area. Every building has its own identity. So you have to educate the client in such a way that their feeling will not get hurt. Okay, because client is putting their money, so and you will be paid only if their ego is satisfied. Okay, so you have to balance between that. It is not just you can force your designs to any client. Okay, ultimately you are designing for the client only. The what innovative way you can satisfy the client, it is up to you to convince the client that I can do a better design, sir. You just try to explore things. Okay, otherwise I'll do whatever way you want to do that. Okay, but first you have to tell that, sir, this is the one of the option which we can explore. Let's keep this option aside. I'll give you some of the option. If you feel that those options are good, we'll work on around those options. Or otherwise, whatever way you are saying, I'll do that kind of design as well. So it is basically balancing the ego and then your creativity.
Yes, sir. Next question, sir. While working on our designs, there are times where our mind will be completely blank. What are your suggestions to those situations and how to overcome them without being depressed?
See, always you have to start any kind of design with a blank only. Okay, you take a blank paper. Okay, even if no thoughts are coming, just put a pencil in your hand and scribble it on blank paper. Okay, that's the best way to start your basically depressing day. Even though some ideas are not coming, okay, even though your hands are doing something, okay, but ideas will surely come. So start scribbling things, even if the design will not come, but some of the thoughts will come. You just put those thoughts on the paper, that these are the things, these are the things, this can be the requirement, and then refresh yourself with some kind of coffee or some kind of refreshment and all, and then look for some positive things towards the site or maybe some website where you can get inspired to do that design. Okay, always see, you will come across the designs which are already somewhere executed, some of the place it has been already executed, or some designs you'll surely find relevant design whatever the task you have been given. So it is not a difficult task for you to look for some kind of references. You start looking for the references and surely you will get the ideas. And see, the blank part is not about that you are depressed. Okay, you have to remove your depression first, then only you will be able to design something in a proper way. Okay, depression through the blank paper it will not start. Okay, you have not put your thought onto the blank paper. You take a pencil and start doing something, and after putting that effort, if you think that it is not coming, then take the help of somebody who can really, not relevant to your field or anybody, go with whom you are very comfortable speaking, you discuss with them. Surely you will get some kind of ideas or some kind of thought, maybe a refreshing kind of thought, and all. Then you come back again and then you again start putting that on the paper. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, one more question from the student side. Uh, he's saying, I being an introvert, I'm really bad at making contacts. Help or promoting my work. How do I start my profession and establish my own firm?
See, being an introvert is a good thing, but architecture is not about being introvert. Okay, you have to be extrovert in terms of selling your product to others. Okay, you cannot sell your product by being introvert. So somehow you have to make your designs or make your product in such a way that it appeals to other people. Otherwise, you will be designing or doing the project for yourself. So you will be making anything for your client or anyone. It is not for you only. So that basically you have to come out and then explore the world. That is first of all, that quality is not at all good. You have to remove that quality from you if you are introvert. You try to interact with people. You try to find people who are of similar kind of a genre or similar kind of thought, and then interact with them. It is not about being introvert is a good thing. It is not a good thing at all. You have to be a social person, and then social needs to be understood.
So last question from the students' side. What are the challenges we will be facing decide to come out of a firm as an employee and start our own career?
Uh, no, you will first of all. We, this is basically a problem for everybody. Okay. The challenges, as in like until unless you see a life cycle of some project, you should not start your consultancy. You have to see the life cycle of the projects, and life cycle of the project is not about a year or two. It takes at least like 3-4 years to go through a life cycle of any project. Okay, so professional experience is very much required, and until unless you see on the field and then how things happen on the field, you will not be able to start your firm. So those are the challenges which you will face in your career. that suddenly after coming out of the college you can start your work. It is not like that. You cannot start that. You have to have a professional experience where you learn, going to the site and then learning many things. So the challenges will be always be there, but as much as possible, being into a professional field, like as an employer or whatever way you are, you have to learn as much as possible. If the thought is there, you want to start your own firm, you have to be at least 50% ready for doing the work. Until unless you are 50% ready, you cannot come out and then start your own. And surely you will fail. I have seen people coming out of the firm with sheer enthusiasm, they start their company and they fail. So it is not about that. Starting is a simple thing, but running through the business and then making it successful is more important. I have faced a lot of issues for the start of my career, and then, but those issues will come. You have to overcome with the issues. It is maybe financial issues will come, their project will not come, nobody will believe you. So all those things will come. See, first question people will ask that, have you done any design or any building till now? You cannot say that yes, when I was doing the job there, I had done this, I had done this. So nobody will believe that. So that kind of credibility needs to be first. You have to understand that basically the psychology of the client, that they will surely look for the experience. So experience doesn't come in a day or two. It's a process. Okay, whatever the book knowledge you have, you cannot say that I can become a very good architect unless you have that field knowledge with you. So no, it is not about the basically you cannot start. It is about the right time to start your farm. Until unless you are prepared, you should not jump into starting the farm.
Thank you so much, sir, for your unrelenting responses to all the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.